Hey guys, Thomas here. Today I'm with Dad.
Yes, you certainly are.
And today we are flying the Axis Flying Air Force Pro. So a quick backstory, Axis Flying sent this to us last year. We were meant to review it last year, that kind of didn't happen, so sorry about that, but better late than never, right? The whole premise behind this quad's actually really interesting, and it was why I was sort of so keen to try it. It's an X8 3-inch. At the time, there was really nothing like it on the market, especially as a ready-to-fly. And the whole concept that they had was they wanted more redundancy, because this is meant to be a cinema platform, a filming platform. But then the other thing that they were trying to fix with the X8 was to try and bridge the gap in feel between a 3-inch and a 5-inch drone. So for someone like me, I'm obviously now pretty comfortable switching back and forth between conventional Cinewhoops and 5-inch and race drones. But the whole idea with this is to cut down the adaptation time, and especially for someone that does prefer the 5-inch feel, which I'd say is probably most of us realistically. Hopefully this will make it easier to fly and easier to fly well. So we have a bit of a different format for this video because it is based around the feel and the shots. Rather than doing any kind of battery time testing or track testing or anything, we're going to test the feel and how good the shots it produces are. So what we've got basically a couple locations we've picked out. One just to get a feel for how it flies, and then another one hopefully for some nice sunset cinematics. That being said, right now sunny Melbourne ain't being so sunny, so maybe it'll end up being a bit more of a moody style shoot. But I'm gonna fly it, Dad's gonna fly it, and between both of us and our different skill sets, especially with Dad, the fact that he basically exclusively flies 5-inch, we should get a really good idea of what this thing is capable of and where it's good or where it may not. Where it's good or where it may not be good. So I've actually already got this set up. It was pretty straightforward on my end. All I did was attach a little GoPro mount, and that was actually a little bit of work because the bolts are pretty small. Just took me a bit to get used to how the assembly works on it, but that popped straight on. Binding and getting it all connected was nice and easy. They did actually tell me that someone made a tune that increases the flight time by an entire minute, or like 20%. I've just left it stock for now, just as it was if you would get it off the shelf. But that is something to look at. I can't remember who's the person that actually tuned it. But
well, a year on, there's probably going to be a ton of even add-ons for it as far as TPU bits and pieces and everything really, and not just the tune.
Yeah, because I was going to say too, you actually did run into a small issue.
I had trouble actually with the GoPro, as in mounting the GoPro. The bolts, the bolt that comes with the GoPro wasn't long enough, and that's because of the way they've actually made the TPU part. It needs a little bit of a recess for the nut part of it to actually slip in a little bit further. I know why they've done it. Obviously I want more mass there, more strength, so the GoPro doesn't sort of flop around again, but still you need to probably get the sizing of that right. I'm sure there'll be some TPU parts for it out there anyway. Yeah,
so that's what we found so far, but let's get on to the flight testing. It's very still today. It's not windy at all. That's actually a joke. It's pretty gusty today, so for a Cinewhoop,
it's not ideal
this
conditions.
Wouldn't be ideal. So if we can do this, honestly, it's going to be a good
and
time.
we're also running, we were going to run the GoPro Hero 8 because it was going to be lighter, but then you decided probably the Hero 10 would be the way to go.
Yeah, it's more like what you'd use. There's a bit
You're not going to be able to tighten it much more than that.
There's a bit of wobble there. There might actually be some jello that'll come through from that mount, so we'll see. Okay. Everything there's good. Make sure I got video before I hit the record button. Let me know when I'm clear.
Hold on a sec.
Oh, there is no voltage on this at all. I must have got to set up the LSD.
Okay.
So we'll be flying this off of our guesstimate.
Okay, you're good to go, Tom.
Okay. And we're off. So I should say this is stock rates, stock PIDs. That is surprisingly accurately.
Hey, was it with the mass of the Hero 10 on it?
It's weird because it's got a lot of power, but then it also feels like a brick at the same time.
It looks like one.
God, how does it look flying?
Yeah, it looks fine. It's just noisy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, not too bad actually, is it?
It's not too bad.
Like for a little quad, I think you expect it to be a lot more quiet.
I feel like there's a bit of camera latency in whatever camera they've picked for this for whatever it's released with. But for cinema though,
so you probably upgrade the camera?
If it was me, yes, but that could also just be me being picky because I'm used to the racing gear. So honestly, all my cinema equipment that I use is pretty racy. So like I don't use digital, I use analog and mainly low latency cameras. The highest latency I'll go is something like the T-Rex camera. So...
Well, you have got digital, but you just don't use them, do you?
Yeah, I only use them if I absolutely have to, which is like...
So if someone wants to sort of view the footage in HD, then you've got no choice to sort of tend to use those.
Yeah.
But if possible, you do go down a path of analog, don't you?
Yes, I do.
So you've got no voltage at the moment, is that correct?
I've got no voltage, so I'll just land it and check it and see what it's at some point.
Do we have the battery checker with us?
I hope so. I hope we have a battery checker with us.
Okay.
You know, it feels pretty good.
You know, with the white and the colours, it's actually very visible.
Yeah, I like the LED placement on it too. You know, I'm really curious to see what you think of this.
Really?
Yeah.
Keep in mind, I haven't flown many freestyle quads for a while, have I now?
You haven't flown a freestyle quad in a while, but you have flown a lot of 5-inch at least.
That's true.
I've been flying very cinematic in this, by the way, but...
Well, I've been flying 5-inch but race quads without a GoPro.
Yeah. Oh, I flipped it. I'm gonna go grab the quad and do the walk of shame. So what happened there, I just mispredicted the height of the quad. I got too comfortable. So that was a whoopsie on my part. That's not the drone's fault. That's a me fault. Let me pick it up and check the battery voltage and we'll see if we can keep going. Yep. That was a real dumb crash. Poor baby on its first flight. The GoPro's a little dirty, but that's fine. Yeah, I clipped here, I think, somewhere, or here, and it just went bloop.
So it wasn't a big crash, was it?
Nah, and it wasn't the fault of the drone at all. That was me.
No real damage?
Nothing at all.
It survived okay?
Yeah. Let's check the voltage and see if we can keep going. So what actually happened was I ran the battery too low.
Oh, okay.
We're at 2.8 volts a cell, which is not good for that battery's first cycle. Lesson learned, have your voltage monitoring on your OSD.
So we're good to go?
Yep, so I'll keep this flight a bit shorter this time. Well, it was my fault, but...
Anything I need to know?
No, just fly it. Tell me what you think.
Gonna try to do the cruisy shots with it.
Yeah, hey, is this a manual or autofocus?
It should be manual focus.
Manual? Oh.
Oh, autofocus.
Auto?
Anyone in the park? I can hear people.
There are people on the footpath. So just stay with me.
What do you think of the actual camera itself? It's just very dark, isn't it?
It is. That's all adjustable though.
Yeah. That's probably the only thing I'd change on it at the moment is the camera on it. Like a cruise as well.
You get some of your stick inputs.
I'm assuming I'm not going fast. I'm just sort of cruising at a... Like what I would be doing if I was shooting something.
I mean, you can do whatever you want with it. So, it's meant to be 5-inch feel, so... I guess that's really the question. What do you think of it?
Well, I'm treating it more as a cinematic platform, the way I'm sort of flying, sort of cruising around. And like I said, you'll be able to put it wherever I want. Like, it's not flying... Like, it's obviously a heavy quad. I can feel the mass behind it. But it's flying quite well.
Try split S. Let's see what you think.
Is the camera kind of laggy a bit?
I think it is. I don't think it's the PID loop. I'm pretty sure it's the camera.
Feels alright, surprisingly.
Yeah. Like if you ever turn it gets into some wobbles, but it's like it actually tracks pretty well.
Now I've been just managing, sort of flying around, cruising around, managing momentum. I haven't been really stopping or doing sharp turns or anything like that. I'm interested to know how the battery would have gone for this sort of flying.
Should we check her out?
Yeah.
Okay, bring her in, let's have a look. Looks like your camera might have moved.
Okay, let's get this off.
Battery checker is on my bag.
I'll let you do the battery checking and we'll change over.
Okay.
I like being behind the camera.
No, you're good in front of the camera.
That was surprisingly
5-inch like?
very 5-inch like.
Not 5-inch.
No, like kind of. Like it wasn't flying like a typical Cinewhoop.
It felt like a Cinewhoop, but you had emergency power.
Yes. Yes.
I think that's the way I'd describe it. 3.8 or 3.76. So you're basically on storage.
Wow. I expected to have heaps. So it's going to drink a lot. I mean, it's a small battery.
It's small battery. This is what they recommended me to use. I think they might have changed the recommendations a few months into actually me receiving it, but that's a 850 milliamp hour 4-cell.
Yep.
This is V2 or V1 chemistry? V1. So yeah, it's all Tattu had at the time, so I didn't really have my pick of, let's get the V3 chemistry on a small scale or something. This is what was available, this is what we're using.
So the flight time is actually not bad considering the fact you're actually running a very heavy camera on a small quad.
Yeah, so you could obviously run a naked GoPro if you want.
You could run a Hero 8, that'd be lighter.
You could run a Hero 8. I like the idea of having a full-blown camera on there. It's just really handy for just modularity and just ease of use. So the fact it can even do that is really good. And usually for Cinewhoops, most things are going to be 30-second takes, right? So it's pretty rare you're going to need like a 2-minute, 3-minute run. I have heard that you can push 4 minutes. I'm not sure what pace you have to do that or what tuning adjustments you need to do. This was obviously just how it was from the factory. I think the plan should be now, let me fix the OSD and then we'll go to the second location, get the batteries charged up again and see how it performs in a more cinematic environment. So,
it's cold.
It's cold. We're in location number 2. We're out in the bush. Beautiful sunset, as you can see. We do actually have about an hour before proper sunset, so we got here a bit early. We may try to hold out a bit longer and see if we can get a cooler cinematic picture, but I have a feeling this is what we've got to deal with.
I don't think the sun's coming out.
Yeah, we're probably just going to have to make do with what we've got.
Mind you, the cool thing was when we were driving down here, and I know a lot of people from overseas sort of think this, that kangaroos hop around in streets.
We actually saw kangaroos hopping around in streets, which is a good sign. So around the bush, there should be some nice wildlife. We obviously won't disturb them, but at the same time, if we can get some cool video, why not? So we'll see what we can do. So, it's cold. It's not very sunsetty, but we're going to try and get whatever cinematic bliss we can. I have flown here before a couple times, and I think let's just see what we can pull off. Get this thing plugged in.
Telemetry recovered.
GoPro's recording.
Sweet.
So my plan, I think we're going to try to do a bit of gapping. Probably some straight line runs. You already got those pretty well covered, so I probably don't need to bother with that.
I think do whatever you like. See see what it feels like and how it flies, and you know what you want to sort of achieve. And if you can achieve what you're aiming to do, that'd be good.
One thing I discovered, by the way, I got the OSD going. I got the OSD going, but one thing I did actually discover is the camera was set to PAL, which could be why I find it a bit funky.
Yeah, it was actually better when I flew this time.
Now that you knew that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it sort of just took the pressure off a bit. But
well, you gained a bit of altitude there.
Yeah, I know. This probably isn't really the real use case for a Cinewhoop, but may as well.
You're flying it more like you would fly a
5-inch?
5-inch, yeah.
Yeah, it's just hard because it's actually got a decent amount of power, man. Like, for a Cinewhoop, it's no 5-inch power, but it is 5-inch light.
I think what I discovered that's really good about it is it's got the power and the grunt that you need, but it's also got the density where it's not affected by wind and what have you.
Yeah.
So it's like this little flying brick.
It is.
Wow,
it's a flying brick.
What's your voltages on?
364.
Okay. I think I landed on 355 or something like that it was. And it obviously bounced back up again. What did it bounce back up to?
377.
377. Okay, it's not bad. So it was
not
pretty much
bad.
storage.
You basically nailed it. It looks like the range on the Crossfire is a bit low on this. It could just be where it's positioned or the fact there's a lot of electrical noise from all the motors.
I didn't actually even look at the range of the Crossfire because I was too busy trying not to get lost here.
Yeah. Oh, kangaroo.
Over there? Oh, wow.
Yeah, he doesn't seem too worried. I think these are the same ones that we have at the flying
club.
Yeah,
this is really close to our flying field, so it's not far away, and I think pretty much all the kangaroos there are used to our aircraft, aren't they?
Yeah.
We've actually had aircraft trying to land on the strip with kangaroos all over the strip.
RF signal.
Oh,
critical.
okay, let's get to safety again. Yeah, so definitely not long range. Even with the Crossfire. I think that's honestly just the positioning. I'll show you where it's positioned when I land. I also think I've just about used up the battery. So, I'll get a cool shot of us.
Okay.
Epic shot.
People on the walking path, so don't go anywhere near the walking path.
That was not as epic as I expected. The drone just stopped.
Yeah, I know. That's what I noticed. It just
Okay.
stops, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. So, there we go. I'll get this turned off. So, check the motor temperature too.
Telemetry lost.
Totally fine. This actually runs cooler than the real Cinewhoop I use.
Really?
So yeah, that could be because it's shared between 8 motors, or it could just be
What's
the
it
tune's
like?
better or something. It's cold.
Oh, wow.
My one, even in the dead of winter, will still get really warm. So in summer, I have to be careful not to actually overcook it. I do have actually new motors from T-Motor to throw on that. I just haven't got around to it yet because it still works and it's been really reliable. So I've just been taking a bit of gaps between my cinema shots.
So, in summary, what are your thoughts about this quad?
My thoughts, the use case of having a 5-inch feeling quad or bridging that gap a bit more, I think they did succeed with that.
And you've got the prop guards around it.
And you got the prop guards, which is really good. Obviously, the flip side, it is a bit heavier, so I think in normal circumstances, people would be fine with you flying around them and that, but I feel like I'd still be using the super light whoops for that.
But if it was windy and you were outside, you need to gap something, this would be the better quad.
This would be the better quad, I think. Obviously, you have to be aware of your flight times, but that's most Cinewhoops anyway, and none of them really last that long.
And realistically, you have the GoPro Hero 10 on it too.
That is true. So you can run a lighter GoPro. I've heard multiple reports that with a retune, you can actually increase the flight time by like 20%. So
And the battery you're running on is tiny. Like, it's a really small battery.
It is, yeah.
I mean, if you ran that same battery on a 5-inch quad, you would probably get about the same flight time. Like,
Probably
that's a
less.
little battery.
Yeah, so I guess in light of that, I think with a bit of optimization, with, playing with the setup a bit, I think you can get a fair bit more out of it.
It's a specialised drone.
It's very specialized, I think, yeah. So I feel like for most people, if you're looking to buy, like, early,
Yeah.
this could be a really good option. I think for me, because I've already got my Cinewhoops, if I had the choice with the knowledge I have, I'd probably just stick with what I've got already.
You'll probably still add this to your fleet, won't you? Because you've got it now.
I will now that I've got it, yeah. So, and the other thing is too that as I use it more, I might find other uses that I hadn't noticed before. But you could see too the fact that, right here, this is, the environment we're in now is an environment for a 5-inch quad, not a Cinewhoop. The fact it could even do shots and it could be fine. It's pretty breezy today. Now it's actually chilled out quite a bit now that we're not flying.
I know, naturally.
But before it was pretty gusty and, that makes pulling off good shots really difficult. So
you got to see an experienced pilot and probably a less experienced pilot in me flying it. And I was able to fly it. So that still says something about the quad, doesn't it?
yeah, I guess we'll cue a 30-second compilation of footage and we'll see you in the next one.